Hello and welcome to our 12th annual Rebel Grad Slam 3-minute thesis competition. My name is Dr. Joanna Jezielska and I'm the Director of Graduate Research Pathways at UNLV Graduate College. The 3-minute thesis or 3MT competition model was developed at the University of Queensland in Australia in 2008. By 2011, the 3MT competition phenomena had spread around the globe, and now more than 900 universities from more than 85 countries hold these competitions. In 2014, UNLV held our first 3MT, the Rebel Grad Slam, and this year we are celebrating 12th annual Research Rumble. The 3MT is a fantastic opportunity for students to learn how to convey who they are and what they study to an audience of folks who are mostly outside of their field. It is an opportunity to build public speaking and communication skills. It's worth noting that our slammers come from all over campus and from a wide range of disciplines. This week, we have over 100 UNLV graduate and professional students assigned to compete in the preliminary rounds. Each will present their research in 3 minutes or less, using one slide and no props. We will introduce each student and then start the timer. If a student goes over 3 minutes, they will be eliminated from the competition. Now, let's turn our attention to the scoring for this research rumble. The judges will be assessing the competitors based on metrics which total 24 possible points in 4 major areas: comprehension, content, engagement, and communication. Each judge will independently score each competitor. Judges will not penalize competitors for unanticipated disruptions that are beyond their slammers' control. At the end of the presentations, we will tally the judges' combined scores for each grad slammer and announce the winners right here live. The top 3 in this session will advance to the semifinals. So without further ado, let me introduce the judges, and then we will get on with our 3MT research rumble. We have a set of very distinguished judges in today's session. Judges, please feel free to turn your camera on briefly to wave hello as I introduce you. We do have today with us Dr. Bertil Maivagam, Assistant Professor and Director of Medical Student Research from Korean School of Medicine. Welcome and thank you. Dr. Yuting Gao, Assistant Professor from Lee Business School. Dr. Jessica Imonen, Associate Professor in Residence, School of Dental Medicine. Dr. Ashley Blackwell, Assistant Professor from College of Liberal Arts. Dr. Lisa Nicholas, Assistant Professor from School of Nursing. Dr. Darren Breger, Assistant Professor from College of Sciences. Welcome and thank you for serving on our panel of judges today. I guess now we are ready to begin our competition. And in today's session, the first presenter is Zahra Eynizadeh, and she is from Doctor of Philosophy Biological Sciences program. Zahra, as soon as you see your slide, you can begin.
Okay, but I couldn't hear you clearly.
You can begin your presentation now as soon as you can see your slide.
Okay, so I can start right now, right?
Yes, thank you.
I can't hear you, sorry.
You don't need to hear me, Zahra. Just start the presentation. Thank you so much. Don't wait for me.
Okay, hello everyone. Imagine just standing on a volcano in Hawaii. You look around and see the first spring life returning after an eruption. And then you can see the small tree with a really beautiful red flowers growing straight out of the black lava. So that tree called Ohia, and then you can see that tree also grows on misty mountaintops next to the river and then also deep in the rainforest. But you can see that it's all just one species. So the big question is, what makes Hawaii's tree Ohia so resilient? So before I answer to that question, please remember that Ohia isn't just any tree. It's a foundation of Hawaiian forest, creating soil, protecting water, and providing homes for native birds and plants. It's also really important for Hawaiian people, symbolizing love and strength in Hawaiian tradition. But these forests, unfortunately, now are under threat from disease, from drought, and also from the climate change. So, if we can understand how Ohia survives in such different environments, we can better protect not only this tree, but also entire ecosystem that depends on it. So, we thought that the secret might be hidden in its DNA. Just just simply like every single living thing, Ohia's story begins in a really tiny cell. And within that cell, you can find a really tiny molecule called DNA. And then we analyze the nuclear genome, which is the complete set of the DNA from the tree living in dry lava fields, with forests, and also different elevation of mountain peaks. So by comparing the genomes, I look for differences. I mean, these small genetic signals that appear again and again in trees adapted to different environments. And then interestingly, we found tiny regions in the DNA that light up in trees in surviving extreme environments like extreme heat, extreme cold, or in flooding. So these are the genomic clues to adaptation, the section of DNA that help Ohia thrive almost everywhere in Hawaii. So his genome can tell us the story of resilience and evolution of how one species became many forms across the island. So by decoding that story, we're learning how life adapts, recovers, and endures lessons that matters more than ever as our forests face really big changes. So next time you see a red beautiful flower blooming on lava in Hawaii, you remember that it's more than a tree. It's a really beautiful symbol of hope written in DNA. And that's the end of this presentation.
Thank you, Zahra. Thank you, Zahra. Now we're going to give a minute to our judges to score your presentation. Thank you. Thank you. Our next presenter is Jireh Albuera, and she is from Masters of Architecture program. If you see your slide, Hannah, please start your presentation. Thank you.
You stepped out of your rideshare on the Las Vegas Strip and encountered not the dazzling spectacle of a casino, but a hot and confusing parking lot. And this trash utilitarian shuffle is the first and final impression for millions. Rideshare use at the airport nearly tripled in 2 years. So yet these crucial points of transition remain unsafe, uncomfortable, and overlooked. I'm Jireh Albuera, a Master of Architecture student, and my research argues that experiential arrival architecture can reframe these rideshare zones as vital cultural thresholds, shaping how people connect to cities like Las Vegas. So to prove this, my thesis is built on an iterative design methodology across these 4 distinct sites that you see on screen, our very own UNLV, Flamingo Hotel and Casino, Allegiant Stadium, and the Arts District. So we are not just designing one solution, but testing hundreds of design variables to find the optimal human experience. So for each test site, we are testing different iterations of our core elements. Different wayfinding schemes to minimize confusion, varied pavement colors and textures to define safe pedestrian paths, multiple seating area designs to maximize comfort and capacity, and various structural shading solutions to manage brutal desert heat. And my goal is to demonstrate even modest evidence-based design interventions can transform a chaotic drop-off point into a meaningful gateway. So pilot design sites show that when these spaces integrate local character, like shaded canopies at Flamingo or public art in the Arts District, riders will feel safer, more comfortable, and more connected to the city. And data confirms this. Better design elevates the experience and it strengthens economic vitality for nearby venues. So as urban life becomes increasingly mobile and shared, rideshare spaces are the new front doors of the metropolis. And by reimagining these non-places as a cultural threshold, we turn everyday arrivals into memorable experience of connection, identity, and place. And in a city known for spectacle, perhaps most powerful architecture isn't what when you arrive, but when lingers as a feeling of ease and welcome when you go. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hannah. And now, judges, you have 1 minute to score Hannah's presentation. Thank you. Our next presenter is Ahmadreza Khatamgooya from Doctor of Philosophy, Civil and Environmental Engineering program. As soon as you see the screen, Reza, you can start. Thank you.
Thank you. Imagine the power goes off for only 1 hour. Your electric devices can die soon. Your fridge stops working. You don't have access to Wi-Fi. Your life is on pause. And this is not just inside homes. Traffic lights stop working, leading to terrible traffic jams. Hospitals struggle, putting their patient lives at risk. And commercial, residential, and industrial sectors all get hit. Remember what happened in February 2021 in Texas. More than 4.6 million people remained with no electricity for up to 2 weeks. And unfortunately, 246 innocent people lost their lives. No one expected that, and not many people were prepared for such a long power outage. In my research, I study power outages and their impacts in Nevada. I'm working with a comprehensive power outage historical data set from ENVI Energy the main electricity supplier of the state. I look at risk as a function of duration and the number of customers affected by area, sector, and different causes. So I can find the vulnerabilities and hotspots to be able to propose mitigation strategies for the power grid. I go further and shift my focus to water and wastewater operations and facilities heavily reliant on electricity for their operations, because an outage there can quickly turn to a huge public health issue with people not having access to clean water and sanitation problem, which can lead to disease spread. Most water and wastewater facilities in the United States have backup power, but their capacity and runtime are not unlimited. They have limited capacity and runtime. I've designed a questionnaire to distribute among water and wastewater facilities, including treatment, supply, distribution, and pumping, asking for historical power outage events in their facilities and experts' opinion. These inputs can help me quantify risk, propose mitigation strategies, and reduce the risk of interruption of electricity in water and wastewater facilities so that we can have a more resilient water and wastewater facilities regarding energy in Nevada. Thank you so much for listening to my pitch.
Thank you, Reza. And now, judges, you have 60 seconds to score his presentation. Thank you. Our next presenter, Nehemiah Chukwuere, the Master of Science, Construction and Infrastructure Management Program. As soon as you see your slide, please start your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Most of us here have cars, and I want you to imagine driving on a newly built highway that is smooth, that is safe, and was finished on time. Now also imagine driving on that same highway and the ongoing construction is delayed for months. The cost is doubled and there's traffic chaos everywhere. The difference not just start on the job site, but rather on the contract page, based on how the project was actually paid for and actually how it was procured. Now, my research actually focused on how procurement and payment strategies determine the success or the failure of design-build highway projects. Now, design-build has become the method for faster project delivery. So now the question comes, what is design-build? In simple terms, it's all about combining design and also construction under one contract. But now here's the catch. Not all design-build projects perform equally. Some finish early, while some face major overruns, maybe cost overruns or schedule overruns. So my research asked the question, which procurement and payment types truly help deliver design-build projects on time and also within budget? Now, if you look at the slide, at the top left side of the slide, you can see the US location of the 85 design-build projects colored in different shades of red on the map. And at the top right side of the slide, you will see the types of design-build projects that I analyzed. Now, at the bottom left side of the slide, you could see the effect of the procurement and the payment types on cost and schedule growth. Now, the first three from the left are the procurement types results for BV, known as best value, for QBS, known as qualification best selection, and SS, known as soy. Now, the first two from the right are the payment type results for LS, known as lump sum, and also for GMP, known as guaranteed maximum price. Now, for the procurement types, we can see that SS projects had lower cost growth, but higher schedule growth, while QBS, which based on contractors that is choosing for expertise rather than price, led to more transparent results for public agencies projects. Now, for the payment types, we could see that lump sum contracts reward speed, but GMP contracts extend the schedule. Now, here's the big takeaway. We can see that contract strategy drives project success. So we've been able to link the procurement and the payment data to the actual outcomes will now help the Department of Transportation make smarter decisions. So the question, what is the impact of this research? Firstly, the impact of this research, faster highways. The impact of this research, smarter spending. The impact of this research, greater public trust. Because when we are able to get the contract right, we get the procurement types right, we get the payment types right, one thing is certain, we can get the country moving forward. We can get the country right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Nehemiah. Judges, you have 60 seconds to score this presentation. Thank you. Well, our next presenter is missing, so judges, please put one in each score rubric, so we can simply advance to the next presenter. So now we have Fiorella Ramirez-Guasp, and she's from Doctor of Philosophy Geoscience program. Fiorella, when you see your slide, please start your presentation. Thank you.
Marine ecosystems are important to us whether you realize it or not. They provide us with essential products, services, and goods that include, but aren't limited to, carbon storage, climate regulation, food, and medicine. Most of these ecosystem services are controlled by marine species, and I'm sure you've heard that climate stressors like deoxygenation and acidification are currently threatening our marine ecosystems. So how can we predict changes in ecosystem services and functioning into the future because of these disturbances? It's hard to use our modern communities because we don't have good pre and post disturbance data to make these predictions. However, we can turn to the fossil record to see how similar disturbances throughout geologic time affected ecosystems using functional diversity. Part of my work focuses on quantifying the changes in functional diversity throughout the late Triassic, specifically the Norian and the Rhaetian stage boundary, which occurred about 205 million years ago. I take marine invertebrate fossils found right here in Nevada from one stage of geologic time and compare them to fossils in the subsequent stage using their functional traits. Functional traits are simple. They're any trait an organism may have that is linked to an ecosystem process and can determine how it can modify its environment or how it responds to its environment. So here I took 3 traits: tiering, which is where in the water column a species resides; motility, which is how a species moves or doesn't move; and feeding, how it feeds, and describe them for all of the fossils we've identified. Once we describe this, we can then place our organisms into functional groups. A functional group being a group of organisms or fossils that share the same traits and therefore perform the same functions in the ecosystem. Once we do this, we can then visually see changes in functional diversity using these theoretical ecospaces you see on this slide, where each cube represents a functional group. So throughout the Norian-Rhaetian boundary, We have drops and extinctions of species, which turn to loss of functions and loss of ecosystem services. We tend to think that ecosystems from millions of years ago are vastly different from our ecosystems today. However, they experience similar disturbances with similar faunas. So we can use these methods to predict what functional groups are vulnerable to specific disturbances and use it to guide management and conservation efforts in our modern oceans. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fiorella. Judges, you have 60 seconds to start your presentation. Our next presenter, Sam Schauf, from Doctor of Philosophy, Biological Sciences program. Sam, as soon as you see your slide, please start your presentation.
Okay, I just want to say really quick before I start that I'm recovering from being sick. So if my voice cracks, like everything's okay. Okay. If you've ever wondered why pathogens acquire antibiotic resistance so quickly, it's because in response to stressful conditions, bacteria can undergo mutagenesis of their DNA to introduce beneficial genes for better survival. Now, this can be studied in a model organism that is non-pathogenic, Bacillus subtilis, because it has processes that are homologous or similar to ones that exist in pathogens that also undergo this. Now, two ways of mutagenesis that Bacillus subtilis can undergo is by competence, which is DNA uptake and integration into the native chromosome, and oxidative stress, which initiates mutagenesis from DNA damage and subsequent error-prone repair, which can also introduce mutations that change the genome for better survival. Now, these two processes may seem unrelated. However, it has actually interestingly been found that competence proteins inserted in the membrane can contribute to possible better permeability for reactive oxidant species to enter the cell during stationary phase. With better entry of the reactive oxidant species, there is better chance of DNA mutagenesis for better survival. However, this has not been shown yet or proven. So therefore, I thus hypothesize that in Bacillus subtilis competent cells with DNA uptake machinery inserted in the membrane, make the membrane more permeable to reactive oxidant species in order to instigate oxidative damage and repair for mutagenesis and survival. Now, this will be assessed using an oxidative stress assay in which the bacteria are grown to stationary phase, subjected to an oxidant, and then their survival is measured as a proxy for susceptibility to oxidative damage. This research is important because, like I mentioned earlier, pathogens have homologous or similar processes in their cells that they undergo in order to obtain those antibiotic resistance genes. This can reveal crucial roles of specific proteins in these mutagenic processes that reveal how pathogens quickly acquire antibiotic resistance in nosocomial environments. That's all.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you so much. Judges, you have 60 seconds to score Sam's presentation. Thank you. Thank you. And now our last presenter, Maria Palapa, and she is from Master of Public Health Program. Maria, as soon as you see your slide, please start your presentation. Thank you so much. Good luck.
Hello, everyone. So my presentation is very relevant to what's really happening today with the food funding shortages and people being able to eat, right? I'm focusing my thesis research in breastfeeding and food insecurity. So breastfeeding is the secure and healthful method of nourishing an infant, especially in the early days of life. The World Health Organization recommends to exclusively breastfeed an infant with no other liquids or solids for up to the first 6 months, and then to continue breastfeeding for the first 2 years in conjunction with complementary foods. Now, although breastfeeding may provide optimal food and nutrition, it could also be a way to protect them from food insecurity. So breastfeeding provides immense benefits like strong immune system, protection from disease and illness. It lowers the mother's risk of breast and ovarian cancer. Ultimately, it can save over 500,000 lives a year. Now, that could also be depending on whether or not they're facing food insecurity. So food insecurity is the limited or uncertain availability of nutritionally adequate and safe foods due to the lack of financial resources. A food insecurity can exacerbate the disparities in maternal child health in early pregnancy and life. And it's also with these adrenal hardships, as you see here, these are maybe influencing factors like WIC participation, maternal age, maternal education, marital status, employment, income. These can play a role in along with food insecurity and whether a mother decides to breastfeed due to the awareness of the quality and quantity of their milk supply. So just as I mentioned earlier, just imagine today with all of the food funding shortages, a mother who has children or infants under 2 years old, they have limited income, limited food, their WIC funding is depleted. All of this can just interfere with the decision of whether or not they can breastfeed or are able to or want to breastfeed, right? And all of this is important because my research is looking at locally here, the data that we've gathered in Clark County. It's new research. It's going to answer the question of whether or not food insecurity is associated with the discontinuation of breastfeeding practices among mothers in Clark County. And it'll be new research that we can provide and share with families in Las Vegas. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria, for your presentation. And at this point, since Maria was our last presenter, I would like to say thank you so much for joining us today for our preliminary rounds. Thank you also to the graduate college team who have made the 3MT event possible. Now, just stay tuned. We will announce winners live in just a few minutes. Judges, please be sure to press submit at the bottom of your scoring rubrics form. While only the top 3 winners of this round will progress to the semifinals, you will all be winners of our Rebel Grad Slam t-shirt. You can get yours during the Rebel Grad Slam Finals reception. So just so you know, we have all this information for the preliminary rounds. First place winner will receive $300. Second place winner will receive $200. And for the third place winner, receive $100. So now we're just gonna give a time to judges to score all the presentations, submit your results, please, and we will wait for the announcement of the winners. Thank you so much. Just stay tuned. The scores are in. Are we ready? So here are the winners of this preliminary session. The third place is Fiorella Ramirez-Guasp. The second place, Nehemiah Chukwuere. And the first place of this session goes to Maria Palapa. Congratulations to all the winners, and I would like to say thank you at this point to everyone for participating in this session. And I want to just invite you to please join us for the semi-final rounds on Thursday, November 6th at 9 a.m., 11 a.m., and 1:30 p.m. in the Greenspan Auditorium, and the finals on Friday, November 7th at 4 o'clock p.m. in the Greenspan Auditorium. Lastly, we will have your Rebel Grad Slam t-shirts available to you at the finals reception in the Greenspan lobby. And we welcome you to please RSVP for the finals event with the link that right now is posted in our chat. So please check the chat. Thank you so much, the winners. Thank you so much for joining us all today. And we will see you during the semifinals and the final event on November 7th. Thank you so much.